guys, and it's an honour to be here tonight to deliver this Immortal memory to you. It's the first time I've ever done it, so bear with me. It all started back at the Queen Mary, I think, back in February last year, when somebody cancelled the speech for the haggis, or the toast of the haggis, and I got called in the last minute. I quickly put something together, and it turned out okay. I improvised a wee bit. I was a bit mechanical. Anyway, and it worked out okay. So this is my first time doing this, and I hope you enjoy it. And I don't want to go down the traditional route of some biographical. I'm using words I don't even know what they mean here. I don't want it to be a biographical thing that you normally would see here. I want it to be about the guy, his art, his speciality, and what made him the most living legend in Scotland. So, that being said, while I turn over my notes, typically speeches are kind of long and boring. I'm going to change it up a wee bit, and I'm just going to touch on some of the highlights of his life, and then get on to the more important stuff of his art. Alright? If any of you feel like you've been shortchanged, I'll highlight a few things if you want, but there's nothing that you can't find on it online on Wikipedia or Google or whatever. So, Robbie Burns, who was he? What was he? Well, he was a Scotsman. That's the first thing. He was born in 1759 in this wee town, right, just in Ayrshire, called Alloy. To be honest, it was a bit of a shithole, but we'll not talk about that. He stayed in this farmhouse, which, to be fair, was certainly not the Ritz, right? And he grew up as a poor wee laddie, and he walked down the street, he got to school every day, and then he left school, went into construction, and then one day this talent hit him. Now, when we talk about talent, this is where I get passionate, right? When we talk about talent, we talk about something that can touch this little thing in people that nothing else can. Do you know what I mean? You know when you feel something, when it touches your soul, when it changes the way you look at things and how you feel about things. That's talent. You can look at movies, you can listen to songs, you can go to plays, but you know what? If it doesn't change you, it means nothing. It's just a play, it's just a flick, it's just a song. But when you have talent, and you can go as long as this guy has, right? Now, to put things into perspective for you, he is the poet of Scotland. Recently, he was awarded by the Scottish Television Service, and everybody voted in for the day. He was awarded as being the most representative person of Scotland ever. Now we talk about Braveheart, right? William Wallace, we are the men. Don't take our freedom. William Wallace was great. Robbie Burns was a genius. Yeah? Do you agree? Yeah. Well, you can at least talk up a wee bit from your side. Right? So anyway, so I've managed that bit so far, so I'm going to move on to the next section. He did a lot of great things. Not only was a phenomenal poet. He was a tremendous songwriter. You know? Now, when we bring this into the modern era a wee bit, you know, talk about McCartney and Lenny, right? The Beatles. You know how many songs they got together? How many songs they wrote? 280. Robbie Burns wrote 400 songs. A Scotsman. This wee Scottish guy that stayed in a farmhouse, a pretty poor farmhouse, changed the world through his pure poetic justice. The thing about him though, what's really appealed to me, and I have to say this to you, I'm very honest about this. I learned this in a couple of days, right? Maybe a couple of hours, if I'm being. But this guy was a true ladies' man. When we talk about ladies' people, we're talking about he would have blown James Bond away with the guns. Right? I mean, you know, he's born in Ayrshire and he'd fly up, or wouldn't fly up at the time, he'd walk up or get his horse up or whatever. He'd go up to Glasgow for the weekend and find some women, you know, have a wee chat, give them a poem. This is something I wrote for you. Normally us guys today, we cook you dinner. He just wrote you a poem, you know, as one does, right? And, you know, he would be there with this woman. In fact, he was so popular with women, I am convinced, I truly am convinced, that half of Scotland is probably related to him, right? Seriously. You know, I mean, you know, there's one poem I was going to read to you tonight, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm not going to do it because the Tom before me, he read the same thing, and you know, so I'm not going to do it again. But what I will do is I'll talk about poetry and I'll talk about songwriting, and I'm going to say this: when you talk about art, right? Art is something that truly impregnates your soul. And Robbie Burns was a complete genius at it. He was the best in the business at it, probably the best in the world. Poetry for me, I've read poetry from guys all around the world, Now I feel like God, as one does. And poetry, it meant nothing to me. It meant absolutely nothing. Robbie Burns touched me. He truly did. And I advise anyone here that's never read any of his poems or songs or whatever to do so, because it'll change you as a human being. And changing someone as a person is what Robbie Burns is all about. Let me go back to my notes here. I feel like a newsreader. There's a really incredible song that he wrote one time. It was a song about a really ugly woman. There's not too many of them in California, so don't worry about it. But yeah, so he wrote this song, and it was called Willie Wassell's Wife. So, in that song, there was a line, and it was called A Clapper Tongue with Diva Miller. A clapper tongue with Diva Miller. And I read that while I was studying to do this tonight. I read it, and I was like, what the heck does that mean? right? And a clapper is, if you imagine a bell, right? It's the ring of the bell that goes like that, right? And it keeps going and keeps going. So what basically he's saying is a clapper is she's got a tongue that never shuts up. She just, I don't care anymore, you're just a clapper. She's just a loud mouth, right? Typical Scotswoman. And what was that? That's why I'm divorced, man. Never married as a Scottish girl. So, if you look at the second phrase of that, what devil lover, right? Oh, what devil miller. So, what that means, a miller is someone that works in a mill, right? And back then, a mill was like the loudest thing you could possibly hear. You don't have freeways back then. You certainly never heard rock music back then. The mill was loud. So if you were louder than a miller, you were one really loud MF, alright? So basically what he said in 4 or 5 words, can you hear me when I go like that? Can you still hear it like that? Can you hear it like that? That's better, like that?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what he managed to do in one sentence, I've been explaining that for you for 2 minutes. That is genius. That is amazing. And I'm very, very passionate about Scotland. I'm very passionate about my homeland. While I love California, I think some of the greatest people come from Scotland. But there's only one great, and there's only one greatest. In California and in America, you guys, you have an Elvis. We have a Robbie Burns. You know, you have a Muhammad Ali. We have a Braveheart. But Robbie Burns is the one person that will stand against time throughout our generation and probably 10, 50, 100 more and still be here to this day doing the same thing because he was a genius. Let me just change my page again. Before I close up here, I want to share with you one thing that I learned about Robbie Burns that you probably never heard of before. Now, when he was a wee boy, right? It's just about that height. It's about that height. He was very, very passionate, and I'm guessing this is where his creative juices come from. He used to love going for walks in the park with his dad. That's a fact. And they used to walk down the wee path in the woods together. And they'd look at the wee birds and they'd look at the wee trees and they would just talk, and they would talk creative stuff, which was the inspiration for all his work that he carried out. There was one particular day, they went for a walk. They were strolling down this wee path, looking at the bushes, admiring the flowers, looking at the kind of cloudy sky. Oh, a wee bit blue there, but potentially trying to hurry up to get home before it rains, right? And Robbie, as a 4-year-old, saw something. He saw this dead seagull lying there, on its back, lying on its back, legs in the air, completely dead. considerate, compassionate person that he was, at a young age, he went, Daddy, what's happened to the birdie, Daddy? And the dad reassured him. I said, son, it's okay. What's happened is that the bird has died and went to heaven. And give him a wee cuddle and all that. Anyway, they went home, they finished their walk. A few weeks later, right, Dad was at work and was coming home through his wee dirt path to his shithole farmhouse. And, right? And the wee boy, he opens the door, and the wee boy, Robbie's like, Dad, come here, come. Dad, do you remember, Dad, that birthday that we saw? It was lying on its back with its legs in the air that went to heaven, Dad? And the father goes, yeah? Mum almost went to heaven today, Dad. What do you mean, son? Well, she was lying on her back with her legs in the air. She was telling God she was coming, and if it was not for the milkman on top of her, she would have been away. So, anyway, Robbie Burns became an icon of mine. I certainly hope he is of you too. And thank you for having me. I wish you all the best. And take care, guys. All right?
Lenny with the little delivery, ladies and gentlemen, if you please. Thank you, Tom.